Well, welcome to the Cosmic Mother Rising Show. We are here once more with you all. What a joy. It's such an excitement and electrifying energy running through us in all parts of us. I could feel it through through Mother Earth and specifically our bodies. It's just such an exciting time. We're seeing such an evolution, a change on Earth. But thank you for being here. I am Rising Phoenix Aurora, and my beautiful friend, colleague, and who also co-host here. Laura, say hi.
Hi, everybody. It's Laura Eisenhower. Great to see you today on Cosmic Mother Rising.
Thank you.
I
What
know
an honor.
Yeah.
Thank you. Such an honor to be here with you all. Thank you for listening. And then thank you to all of you who, I constantly hear, like, all the time, multiple times a week, I ask, like, how did you find me? And they say, Laura Eisenhower, especially that Red versus Blue or that AI Alien Invasion one that I did on that one, the show that you do. I think they changed their name. I forgot their name now. Right? Yeah. I don't know what it's called.
Oh,
But it was
a show that you did?
Vitality. Yeah, Conscious
Oh, yeah,
Vitality.
yeah, yeah. Huh?
Yes.
Mhm.
So that those two videos were so big and everybody talks about how life-changing our transmissions has been, our communications, our light, most importantly, and the beautiful comments. So thank you for being here with us. I know that our content is so important on Earth and also could be very strong, but how we always deliver it all in love. So thank you for being part of that collective and assisting us. So yeah, go to risingphoenixaura.com. I'm an author, retreats, workshops, go check all that. And Laura, you have lots going on. You travel the world and you're constantly gritting, that Mother Earth energy onto Earth. What's going on with you?
Oh, yeah. Well, my book's coming out March 1st. And I've got some, exciting events coming up. And yeah, gosh, talk about like incredible energies. So we're going to get into that. The shift into Aquarius. Today is the Chinese New Year. Dragon wood energy coming in this year, which is really awesome. I mean, there's just so much powerful surges of transformative energies that everybody's experiencing. And so, yeah, we're going to really dive into that and where they're trying to divert it and distract us away so that we are really handing that power over to something outside of ourselves versus what we're experiencing internally and within. And I know everybody's probably feeling something really major. I'll get into the aspects of the astrological after. I just want to ask you about, what's kind of going on with the migrants, and also you have some updates about the jabs. So can we kind of start there?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. So wow. Yeah, so it goes back to one, the Red versus Blue, then the video I mentioned at the beginning with you on that show, where we started talking about, like, a couple years ago, even before we knew for sure that this was physically accurate. We were seeing this, right, remote viewing and getting information from the divine, especially Divine Mother. Divine Mother Sophia has been a really big part of communicating over what's next, and this is what we want to be aware of, to transmute and not consent to, most importantly. Especially your video that you did of that you did not consent was gigantic and huge, and the ways that the world leveled up when you did that video. For me, even me, who constantly is not consenting, when I watched that video, it activated such a strength within me that just completely shifted my world. And it even, like, I'm already, like, really, like, I'm known as a spiritual revolutionist. I'm already, like, full on, but that video is really important. And there's so much of your content, Laura, that is just truly inspirational. You are an inspiration on Earth. So thankful for that video. But yes, but going to that, so we talked about back then in those videos, what their diabolical plan was for the jab. We talked, the DNA and so on. But now we have actual doctors, and we've been for the last couple of years, and especially the documentary Died Suddenly has been confirming some of the things that we were talking about back then before we had the actual proof. So that steps into their next, say, negative New World agenda, which is, you ever wonder why they wanted everyone's DNA sample through their saliva. What would they tell you? You needed to have a COVID test, especially if you're whatever job, you needed to be COVID tested every single day, and they need to swab you. And some of that swab went all the way up to your brain. Okay, so yeah, why did they want the whole collective's DNA? Because, and it's hard to say, but what happened is, so I've been covering this under my Rumble channel mostly, and a couple months ago I started seeing, basically right around the time where we started seeing the migrants coming in, and they're coming in through not just the states, they're coming in everywhere, and there's videos you could look up and research yourself. They have
Oh,
600 population, and they
you're cutting out,
can you hear me?
Yeah, it's
I
kind
mean,
of, the internet connection's not that great. You're sort of
okay.
frozen.
Let me know what's the last. Let me know what's okay. Let me know what's the last thing. To let me know when I'm
Migrants
good.
coming in just all
And what's the
over.
last thing?
Yeah, just everywhere.
Yes. Okay. That's the last thing. Am I good now?
Yeah.
Am I good now? Okay. My apologies. Sometimes my energy does that to the internet. So, yeah, so the migrants are coming all over. There's like a little town in the UK. There's a father talking about how concerned they were because there's a population of 600 in that town, and 2,200 migrants just came in, overpopulating. And it's like the government's not listening and so on. But we've been doing a lot since then that's been happening. So it's happening everywhere, unfortunately. But we already know that Texas started, right, to like put resistance and not allow. Biden had asked for them to let all those migrants, millions of them, to continue to come in. So I was watching one of those in Texas. I was watching a man, and he was really nice, and he was going around like with a microphone asking the different men that were coming in, asking them questions like, where are you from? Where are you coming from? What's the plan? Where are you going? And every single one of them knew exactly where they're going to go. I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to, Montana. I'm going to California, so on. And then when I realized that when he was talking to them, I said, some of these men are not too bad. Like they're kind of like nice guys. What's going on here? And then that's when I realized that they're clones. So this is how it works. This is why they wanted all the DNA, because the government can clone
Oh my God.
with your DNA. They can clone with your DNA from within 6 months. They can make a legit feed. They can make a fetus and grow them within 6 months. So the way that this works is that these clones don't know that they're clones. They think that they're actual people. They think that they're just people, and they have memories of whatever, because that's the way that whatever their names are, but that goes into like the MK Ultra, the My Labs, and so on. So if we're wondering where did these millions of people just appear from and are randomly being dropped off in by the beaches, by the borders all over the world, is because the government is placing them and dropping them off there after they make them. And that's why there's all that they think that they're legit a person, but they're actually just clones.
So they're like
And why
unleashing
else?
an army of clones
Yep.
that are
Yep.
controllable.
Yes.
So what happens to the original one? Could they run into their clone and be like, whoa, they're running into a version of themselves, or are they trying to take out the original person? Like, how does that work?
I think they could run into them, but these people, like, it depends. Like, so that nice guy, I was watching him interview, he had no idea he was a clone. So they just know exactly where they're gonna go. And it's just a little trippy, because how do you it's a little bit kind of like Star Wars, right? Like those clones, and it's like, but then a lot of them though have a lot of AI, and they're definitely going to be like, since they're being cloned in their labs underground, in the underground bases that we know about, that we talk about, they probably have the jab in them. They probably have like different type of MK Ultra, My Lab type of implants in them that they don't realize that they have. But initially, we know that the goal here is that they want Biden to be nominated as president, and they're gonna make them as legal as legal voters. So, and there's government officials talking about it, how this wasn't possible, but they're talking about how they're doing it. Yeah. And we don't consent to that.
So white hats and positive military forces haven't been able to intervene on this one. It's just, I mean, nothing has been able to kind of stop this. I mean, is this gonna, instead of a rigged election, it's gonna be a bunch of clones voting?
That's their goal, but we're stopping it. That's
Right.
their goal. We're stopping it. Everyone all over the earth is standing up for this. And also, as I channeled Nikola Tesla, I didn't realize, Laura, that I went back to his articles, and because he was telling me there was something I needed to read about him. So there's different articles that he wrote, like in, I think it was 1920, if I remember exactly, but I channeled him. To watch that, you have to go to my Patreon. So, and he literally is talking about all these different technologies that we have that he made back then in the 1900s. So, that ray that's going in, did you hear that that ray that's causing the fires also went to Chile? And again, the blue houses and the blue cars are not being hit. Okay. So he actually developed that back then. So when he passed away, they took it, and that's where they got that from. The other thing is that, the dome that Israel has that protects them with some kind of force field. Did you know that Nikola Tesla back in Tartaria, that was his article, reads the end of the war. And he says, I've developed a technology. And he was trying to basically give it to the UK, to start off with the UK, England. But something happened there, like a dark takeover. We know the reptilians and the kings and queens basically happened at that point. And so the article talks about how his ideal, his vision for the world, to that war is useless, and and so on. And he's also actually quite interesting, referencing Buddha, like he knows him, like almost like he had dinner with him or something. So it's like all this, like the galactic history that I talk about, it's all like it's all false. Anyway, so he's talking about spirituality. And let me know if you can still hear me. Can you hear me? No? Let me know when I'm back. Let me know when I'm back.
No, I can hear you. You're good. Keep going.
Let me know when I'm back.
You're back. Hello?
Me?
Yeah. You're in and out, but yeah.
Yeah, back? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, he's talking about how he had created technology, given it to the world, so that city and country in this world is protected by this dome type of technology. Then no one can fight each other because they're all protected. So that was his vision. That's how Israel got that. They stole it from him. So also Donald Trump has been talking about how he's going to bring back that technology and protect the states so that we won't get, attacked. So there's videos of him talking about that very clearly as well. So because, ultimately Trump is related to Nikola Tesla and related, the families and so on, and they have that technology. Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. And what about the ones that have already been Jeff? So you're saying the clones
Mm-hmm.
have the programming being clones, but different than like MK Ultra because they're clones, right? So
Yeah.
they can't. I mean, do they get memories downloaded from the original one? I mean,
So
how do you have ones?
yeah.
How are the ones that are like not cloned? Do you, like what's the next level of like maybe 5G wave signals coming out too in accordance with all this that you're talking about?
Yeah. So, okay. So, well, first of all, like if you gave your DNA openly, because you're consenting at that point. So if you gave your DNA, you need to start working energetically in the quantum realm, really in the theta, a lot of meditation. And, we offer courses so you can start learning how to go into the quantum realm. So you can start working on basically, you have to, it's a process. You would have to energetically kind of unlink yourself to those clones that they made from your saliva. Okay. I mean, people are talking about all over the place, you know, like even like those ancestry.com, you know, that's what they're doing. They just want, they're going to give you supposedly, you know, how many races you are or whatever, but they want your DNA. And I mean, this is not something that's out of the ordinary. This is being talked about for a long time already. So, but now we know why they grab, you know, they got everyone's saliva for that purpose. Because they found out that they couldn't control the earth as well as they thought they could. So they needed to make basically versions of people that they could control in a lab. So then with that, so then you're going to have to really work spiritually just to really remove that. No fear, just basically awareness. And there's an aura regression, the past life regression entity removal that I do that's actually coming out in a couple of days that talks about the process of what these clones are and how the collective, divine mother and father, they start talking about how they're going to start working on to basically assist those clones, because it's not their fault. Ultimately, they've just been made, and you can't, you know, destroy life. So they're talking about in that session how they're going to basically assist them to what, and then but the original person that they retrieve the saliva from needs to go in and ask for if they feel that they did have a clone version of them. If they do, so some people were protected and they don't, you know, it just really depends on, you know, how you're working with this and how much you consented or not consented when you know, when they were kind of tricking us. So you have to go in and you have to basically start calling on divine mother, you know, divine father, source, love, light, and start working with them to start removing the ties, the tether that you might have to this clone, and they have to make it basically an individual fractal and start basically transmuting whatever's inside of them, these clones, implants, whatever's controlling them. But it's going to be a process, and it's already begun, and we needed the year of the dragon to begin that. Yeah.
There's not like a danger of finding that when you're visiting a friend or family that it might not really be them, it might be a clone.
No, I don't think you'll be running into them. I don't feel that you would be.
No, it's just they're unleashing them. You're saying like migrants are actually, there's a mix with clones
Yeah,
that they're
exactly, because
like that movie, The Island. That there was a movie called The Island, I think, that was
really?
yeah, just reminds me of all of this.
Oh wow, I'll have to check it out. Yeah, there's so many movies, right?
I know. I mean, that's
You could
just one.
reference. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
But
but
they would have to be MK Ultra'd, right? Because they're just clones, so they are just lookalikes, but they're not the soul of that
they're not the fully person, but they are a version of them. Like it's like they take the DNA and they create, you know, kind of like a fractured consciousness, like a consciousness of the DNA. Because ultimately, if you have the DNA grows the consciousness. It's, I mean, they're playing God and they shouldn't be, right? So it's disgusting, but that's what they're doing. So once you have the DNA, the consciousness then creates from their petri dishes, you know, and then they grow them.
including memories and
Yeah, memories. We don't exactly know what those memories look like. Um yeah, but I know that there's help and we need to step into our power to call for that help from source. Like, yeah.
yeah, gosh. It's a lot. Yeah, so what I'm just getting is there's really, really powerful forces. I mean, Mars, Pluto, Mercury, and Venus all in Aquarius, very, very close to each other. Those are tremendously powerful creative energies. And yeah, to try and hijack that is exactly what's going on, because the AI and the dark technologies is really just going to amp up in the face of just this potential awakening, which the Aquarian energy represents, is authenticity and truth and connecting with our divine mind. But yeah, if you know, as these surges of power and transmissions and upgrades are taking place, yeah, I can see that that's a huge panic time for them to want to pull something, to pull the carpet from underneath us. What do you feel about the upcoming elections? That there will be enough votes to not be able to go through the election was rigged. They'll actually just have a population that's voting because they can't really pull another pandemic or keep us locked up. I mean, is that what you're seeing? Or what do you
Yes.
feel like is happening with Trump and the successes of his possible administration again?
Well, it's quite incredible. In 2012, I started like, because we're able to do this, we just need to really focus and meditate more. So we're able to tap into our version of us in our body, right? So like in 2012, I started feeling myself say bilocate into me in 2024 in different times and spaces where the earth has shifted and had accomplished same missions or accomplished collective organic timelines. So in 2022 they started all our content, we started preparing the collective that was listening to our channels to get them ready for 2024, where there's going to be, you know, the grandest revolution. So I know that basically at this point that it's already happened. There the pedals, especially marking the Sound of Freedom and that important documentary that came, well, movie that came out, has really assisted the collective. And it's just incredible. So with that, so these are different marking points, right? Like all the, you know, there was that in shadow, I can't remember the other ones that came out, the documentaries, the pedals, I can't remember them right now, where they were talking about pedals, but all of those, out of shadows or something, all of those have been so important for our collective. So as they continue to unveil, then basically at this is the year that they started showing me that the pedals were gonna go down, and that big groupings of these, whether they're government officials or celebrities, there's going to be so much data. And the truth is that they've already gone down. The people already know. There's so many thousands and millions of people sharing all over the world of who they really are. Everywhere you look now, people are talking about this, which is absolutely tremendous. So from there, I have seen that a benevolent president will definitely come into presidency. But even though I've seen it, even though the me is there in that timeline, say in the future when they get this benevolent president, ideally Donald Trump would be the ideal one because of how clear he's been. If you go back and listen to everything he's been talking about, even that wall, right? If you remember, we started talking about that wall, and I told you he wasn't trying to say that he's trying to like be racist. He's trying to say that he's literally trying to keep the pedos, and now we know that they're disguising clones pedos mixed in with, there is regular migrants coming in too. So now we know what he's talking about, like all these different things. If we go back and listen, it's all coming into play. So I've the year of the dragon is immense. There's these people, these inverted entities are going to have a really hard time. They're doing any kind of falseness, and I do feel that we are going to prevail this year, and we are going to have benevolence, basically as a president. Absolutely. And that's the timeline, organic timeline I'm going to hold. But you who are listening, you have to hold that too. And you have to not allow yourself to become distracted. You have to focus, and you have to hold that space and that organic timeline to be, because we already seen what they're doing to the collective, and we don't consent to that. Hawaii, all these things that we were talking about through Cosmic Mother Rising show. We've seen that. No more of that. Not as easy for them anymore.
Yeah, gosh. Any thoughts about, I mean, I didn't watch Super Bowl. I don't watch that
Yeah,
kind of
me
stuff.
either.
I'm just, it's just same old symbolism and ritual. Um, but yeah, with the kind of powerful energies. I mean, I just can't even believe how many planets are in Aquarius right now. And Mercury being involved, Venus being involved, and the surge of like power. It's really like harnessing our higher mind and our hearts and our wisdom and our strength, and with the grounded energy of Uranus and Taurus to really just move through these incredible breakdowns within ourselves, and how, more of our authentic true self is surfacing in the face of this North Node, Aries and Chiron, of facing just so many wounds in our ego identities, that hopefully, the powerful frequencies will help people to, let that wrecking ball kind of tear down false personas that have been groomed and indoctrinated, because the tension in the body is like getting to the extreme. But obviously the more that is given to whatever storyline or narrative is being steered, versus taking the time to just step back from it all and cultivate what it's trying to take you into, yeah, it's a really, 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 really powerful time to just direct your creative power towards the future that you want to see, and really protect your space. Because yeah, the Uranus powerful electrical energies that impact our nervous system, the signals coming from ascension energies via our higher self and intuition, um, getting sidelined or hijacked by any kind of AI, would be a really, really strong time on the calendar year, astrologically speaking, for them to really gather a lot of like loosh. So, some sort of false flag event, I wouldn't be surprised, would be coming along. This sounds like this is what that is, but a lot more kind of gradual as these migrants and clones begin to. I mean, a lot of the MK Ultra survivors that I've talked to talk about an army that they were going to unleash upon humanity that has been a lot of rituals, and a lot of the individuals that have been abducted and been trafficked or abused, trauma-based mind controlled, even from early on before these clones have altars to be unleashed during this time as well. So the power of consciousness, you're saying, and the sovereignty of an individual soul can begin to dismantle the dark weaponry coming in through the clones, because there is some sort of connection they require. So if the consciousness is being grown and the consciousness of the individual is awakening, that will override whatever the weaponized clone might attempt to do. Is that kind of how it works? And that if your vibration is lessened to that clone would operate in a much more powerful way. Is that kind of how it works?
Yes. Well, overall, it says that they need assistance. These are consciousnesses, so they basically need assistance for the collective and the person that they might have cloned from. So it's about taking responsibility, ownership, in some of the decisions that we've made. We often, make sometimes decisions that are not so positive for ourselves. So once you come into an understanding of that, you really learn your lesson. Then it's about basically, I mean, we could be fighting these battles with them over and over, clashing heads. We're going to keep fighting them in the physical, but energetically is where we get them, because in the energy is where all exists in the universe, multiverse. So if you get them in the consciousness, in the quantum realm, where all is energy, etheric, and so on, then that's where then their physical basically is no longer. So basically what they're saying is that there's not to worry about like these clones, that source won't allow for anything to get really, really dark. But first of all, we need to understand it, what they are, and start taking action upon this energetically. And so just want to make that very, very clear, that we're not looking to cause any fear, but yeah. And so I know that basically they're already working on it. They already started working on it in the Year of the Dragon, and it's being taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me good?
Any thoughts on the Tucker Putin interview?
Yeah, sorry, my apologies. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Any
I
thoughts
know
on
that
the
basically,
interview? And
yeah. So I know that it's being taken care of already, that the help is there, source of light is there, these energies are there, and we just basically need to anchor them anchor them into this time and space, and not be in fear, but stand in sovereignty and strength and power. Did I cut off again?
Yeah, a little bit. Seems like a major, like just with the Pluto Mars, it's almost like a major opening, just like almost like a portal opening within ourselves to really receive just a lot of light codes and a lot of our just integration of our higher selves into our physical world is just so amped up, but just needs to be so shielded because, in that vulnerability of like rebirth or transformation, um, that's when they try and throw a bunch of energies in the mix so that there's attachments to us that are getting um, kind of rebirthed in the process, like false identities or where people are solidifying whatever they're consenting to within themselves in what some of this indoctrination has done. It's just really powerful right now, really, really powerful. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree. I mean, the energies are there. Most importantly, source is there. I know they're already working on it. It's just really, you know how it works. We need to bring it into awareness, and when we start working on it, but first we need to be aware of it, and then that's what we're doing through this transmission is, assisting the collective to be aware of it, and to take their sovereignty, their power back, and not to allow these kind of infringements furthermore. You
yeah.
know.
Well, it's interesting because Sun is entering Pisces, and the fact that
Mhm.
Neptune is in Pisces, and same with Saturn. It's sort of like this grounding energy of like the creative imagination and where it potentially has been infected with uh these narratives or psyops that harness our creative energy to battery up these artificial timelines. So a lot of like clearing and purification, detoxing and stepping away from just the digital world so that you can be sure that your thoughts are your own, your visions of the future are your own, instead of, where these just interferences can really just impact a person and draw them into enabling a future that is not so good for us as a collective and as individuals. So it'll be interesting when Neptune moves into Aries, and it's really going to be about the ego identity being able to integrate into the multidimensional. And if that multidimensional is, or the creative imagination is not under your command, as far as being able to tap into what you want to see manifest, yeah, it's a very vulnerable time for humans. But those sensitivities and vulnerabilities are going to work in your favor when you're tuning into what your intuition is telling you and what your higher guidance is telling you. And so in where we feel into that water energy and maybe the empathicness and the sensitivities that come along with it, to just really know what energy is yours and what isn't, so that you're clearing out whatever you might have absorbed or taken on or let into your system. Because a lot of us transmute energies or take stuff on and move it through us, but when you're unconscious to it, it can begin to attach itself and almost become thought forms that did not originate with your higher mind. So just takes a lot of meditation, self-reflection, and putting really, really good stuff in your body, because the lower octave of Neptune is addiction and really wanting to check out or feel like the reality checks that aren't the true reality, but are like the harshness of this matrix system that people feel is dictating to us what our future holds or what our current reality is that we don't let it test our patience or undermine our visions. It's just going to take a little bit more time because Saturn requires our patience, because it's very methodical, step by step. So as an obstacle or what appears to be a block shows up, we have to leverage that as a tool for grounding and as a reminder to overcome that obstacle, because we still have to answer to matrix kind of things, but we can do it without consenting. We can do it in order to still keep that roof over our head and still, take care of our basic needs without being in total agreement to the trajectory it wants to take us down. So, there's a big flip of dark Saturn into the higher octaves of Saturn, which is more about self-mastery and being able to, confront these challenges and the tests and tribulations that Saturn represents, so that we can really, see that it's like an obstacle course for the soul to be like a major spiritual athlete and gain incredible strength and resilience instead of feeling victimized or blocked or, you know, answering to outer authority. It's going to take a lot for people to break away and not fall into like survival energy. And I think for many of us, our lives have prepared us when we needed to cut ourselves away from certain jobs or certain systems that we knew were wanting us to compromise ourselves. And that when we answered to our deeper soul calling, that's when the magic really started to flow and the greater synchronicities that brought us to soul family and, you know, like-minded individuals and new locations to start fresh with, what our soul is really calling us to do, because we came for these times, not to ignore, what those inner messages are. And if you don't give yourself the time and space to be able to hear what that is, it just, you're getting caught up in the distraction, because the cosmic intelligence holds everything for us to advance ourselves, because we're a part of the ascension planet. I mean, we're linked into it. It's our divine birthright. It's encoded in our DNA. So, enough with the hijacking. This is a time of great awakening. Not fearing, all these freaking viruses. I just saw a new one, an Alaska virus, some sort of Alaska pox or something like. Just yeah. I mean, when we think of what was in the jab and the 5G thing, and a lot of people fearing, a kind of zombie apocalypse. Is that really something we're gonna? It's more than likely not something we're gonna see
No.
in the way we see like in movies, but
Yeah.
maybe a spontaneous like health crisis. Depending on a person's DNA and depending on their level of consciousness and awareness, because there's going to be a difference with those that got the jab and felt like they had no choice and they're confused versus people that are really defending their captors and, making it a reason to divide and conquer and separate from other people that are moving in a, completely different direction. It depends on, again, where our heads are at. The biggest thing that's been targeted is mind control, because that infects our emotions and then the rest of our neurology and what we're manifesting and creating. So it'll be interesting when the nodes shift into North Node Pisces and South Node Virgo, because we're really going to have to face as a collective what has happened to our physical bodies. Where have our belief systems and where we've been infected with just these different scenarios that have overtaken us, because that is the root of disease. Because the minute you break free of that, don't you feel our bodies can alchemize and sort of remove, these substances from ourselves, because spirit has the ability to recognize something foreign and remove it as long as that integration process is happening. Because I know, like, you put trace minerals in your body or certain things in your body, you can turn a toxin into, you can change the charge of it where it binds to it and removes it. I mean, consciousness is powerful enough to do that as well, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yeah. Everything we teach is how powerful we are as healers, right? And Yeshua has taught this, and all these beautiful Ascended Masters. So it's been, the memories there and the blueprint of Earth and in our DNA, and the overall the DNA is always made to repair oneself. How it's always meant to be organic. So what we do know is that we do accomplish it this year. We don't know exactly how the collective timeline will go, but I know that we do accomplish it. We do it, and that the dragon energy just won't allow anything but true organic timelines as best as possible, because we know that then there's still, like you said, those people who got the jab and still think that they were righteous and think that we're propaganding that not to get the jab or whatever. So those people are still making that inverted timeline there. So it's really strong that we start pulling ourselves from that and bifurcating ourselves out from their inverted world that this earth had to bifurcate into to have the balance here. But yeah, we do it. And have you noticed that everything that you mentioned is so beautiful? Because have you noticed that the planets have been aligning with the sun and the moon, like right around the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the last couple of days? So me and my family will look at that. We look at this app and we, keep track of during the day, like where they're at. And they've been aligning for the last couple of days. And then 2 weeks before that, they were aligning in the evening. So the planets and stars are aligning for something very big. They're providing us with the energy to teach us, as they're aligning. I can show you a picture if you want, but as they're aligning, they're basically telling us to realign ourselves, right? To recalibrate, that the energy is there and that we just need to focus, because, these celestial soul groups of energies are there assisting us astrologically. Yeah.
Well, Pluto is considered the higher octave of Mars, whereas Mars is more about ego and personal willpower. Pluto is more about like a divine will and, alignment with our higher mission, as it takes us into sort of the dark night of the soul to release what doesn't serve us. Mars then acts upon that, and that willpower merged with Pluto is like major dragon kundalini fire. It's just like incredible, and all in Aquarius, which is asking us to just be bold and brave, to be the fullness of our true self. Any other option is just really the transhumanism, and looking to technology to kind of save the day. And we're talking about consenting to the false matrix dark technology manipulations versus Tesla's kind of technology, technology that helps us to upgrade our DNA, that is more based in frequency, sound, and color. And the fact that these Tesla technologies have been hijacked, still there's so much to be gained. And somebody like you who's able to bring in so much information about, Tesla's technologies being misused, we can still embrace the fact that it's getting de-weaponized, or that there's still availability to utilize these technologies. I mean, they're in the wrong hands, but we, being the more advanced technology and being able to get our hands on, some of the more benevolent technologies that will soon be released, the combination of our consciousness and awareness and awakening with the technology and the intent to help to rehabilitate humanity and create healing centers and provide these resources to others, will completely, offset it. Of course, there's going to be casualties, and this is the painful part of bifurcation. I think people are having a really hard time letting go of whatever friends or family you feel are going to bifurcate away. You still want to have that rope, out to them, to grab onto. And I know that I'm not having an easy time letting go, and I'm not going to let go of my friends and loved ones that I feel are going down that road, but not to the detriment of myself being yanked down by it and drowning in it because of my compassion or concern or fear for them, and that's a really, really hard one for those of us that are really, that have close relations with our family members that aren't ready to see this stuff. But, yeah, like you said, I mean, the information is there, and that soul will create a breaking point for themselves as long as they can hear, that soul within them, their soul within them crying out and saying, please, please stop consenting, just to prove that just because you're defending your belief system and your ego is afraid of letting go. It's like, we've all had to be humbled. I mean, and it's a beautiful thing, because that's where you really feel God's source stepping in and guiding, because it never abandons us. We can only just divert our attention into something else. And that's what's so unfortunate about these religions, because I mean, I just went on a walk with a neighbor, and she's a Trumper, but she's very, very conservative. Of course, that comes with a lot of the patriot movement, which is great. But she was talking about the Bible, and when we were talking about my book and I mentioned the mother, she's like, oh, there is no mother. She says, only the father. The father created this earth. And I said, well, it's about honoring the mother and the Mother Earth. She goes, I don't worship idols. It's like, how can you even call Earth an idol? I'm like, this is the air we breathe. And I had to kind of cut the conversation and like shift it into something else. She goes, well, yes, there's Mother Mary, and Mary birthed Jesus, but there is no It's like, God, it was like painful to hear her. She's just like, that's not what the Bible says. That's not what the Bible says. And when we think about the distortion of these ancient texts, how the Anunnaki perverted them, and what happened to the Emerald Tablets, and yeah, it's just like you just can't really say anything. It's almost scary because I've watched enough docu-series about like Fear Thy Neighbor and a lot of these like horrible things that happen with your neighbor. I'm like, oh my God, I hope that doesn't happen. I better just shut up. Cause yeah, they got but you know, but I feel so much love and I just want to embrace the common threads that we are able to talk about. But it's scary that, you know, that this is what people are getting from the Bible, like no mother, like the ancient teachings of the Essenes are all about mother being law and about the mother. It's just scary, like how the patriarchy has infected religions in this way, and that the return of the mother is so lost to people. It's like, and they're threatened by it and they demonize it, and it's like, oh, new agey, or it's paganism, or it's, you know, something to be rejected. And so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get a lot of criticism for my book, and I know, you know, that just comes with the territory. So you've just put out 2 books. What is that like? What kind of feedback are you getting? I mean, you're like, this is a whole other level. I mean, these are like big books of just what an incredible achievement, Aurora. So how has it been since your book has come out?
Ah, it's been tremendous. I'm finding a lot of people who are finding book two go back and buy book one, which is so big. It's been such a joy to hear people's feedback, their reviews, and how important the content is, and how the minute you start, you just can't stop reading it because it's Divine Mother's aspect, her perspective, just like you said, the version that's been erased from the Bible or any of these religions where don't involve the female who is the womb, who is the creator, right? I mean, the reason why, like I was talking about it recently, like the reason why like the females are the X, right? Because we have the full chromosome. The males are the Y because they're missing this part, like say in the chromosome. Because this part that they're missing is the womb. That's why they're the Y, because they're missing the womb. So that all that's missing in their chromosome creates the womb. So wow, which creates creation. But thank you. I love everything. Of once more, always in alignment with everything that you say. It's just so powerful. Thank you for being you. You're just loved, Laura. You are loved. I hope you feel that love every day.
Gosh, and when you
Even
sent me those videos, you have no idea. It just moved me to tears. Um, Everything about you and all that you do, and the incredible retreats that you do, and the women and men that is it all women, or is it were there?
we hope that there's men, but it tends to be most women. You know, we're waiting for the divine masculine. Come on over. But yeah, we got a couple coming up in Angel Oaks. Yeah, there's going to be a couple men.
So incredible.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I've missed
Yes,
meeting with you on this show. We had to reschedule a few times, but it's
yes,
always amazing to share the space with you. Oh my gosh.
definitely, definitely. Everything that you said is just so powerful. With the astrology, it's just so incredible that you have that. Like, you ever think about like doing any courses where you teach us astrology? Because I would join that course.
Oh, yeah, no, I have thought about it.
That'd
I
be
really want to just wait till I have a really good sort of curriculum. And
mhm.
but you know, you're just direct connect and deep intuition and psychic abilities. It's like you're tuned into everything. It's just, you know, just explains it. But just as long as one's tuned in and not on autopilot. But yeah, no, it's interesting to know. And I compare it to sort of like a flower. You know, you can understand the essence and the property of an herb and just utilize that. But then some people would, you know, maybe understand the biology of it, which would be like astrology, understanding the science behind the different patternings and the different aspects and alignments going on. But as long as a person's tuned in, you know, it's not necessary to know. It's but it can be helpful. But like somebody like you, yeah, it's like you transcend the even need completely and totally. But yeah, I mean, oh gosh, you would pick it up in like no time at all. It's a lot easier than it looks, I'll tell you that.
Wow, so beautiful, and I'd love to hear from the different people who, you know, who work with me that have had readings with you. They're like, wow, they talk about how amazing you are with your readings and how you are on point and you're able to read exactly to the point everything, and just like so wowed by you. So if you haven't had a reading with Laura, go have a reading, astrology reading, if you're still offering that, because you yeah, these people are so like when I talk to them, they're so like enlightened. They feel lighter, they feel more positive, and they're like, you know, this is why my life has been like that after they have your astrology reading. So that's pretty,
Gosh,
really
oh my gosh,
amazing.
well, that's what I hear when they
Yes.
have had a session with you, a lot of people have found me. I mean, it's very mutual, and how life-changing and unbelievable. Just ugh, it's incredible. And so when's your retreat? It's in March, right?
Yeah,
You
so I
said-
have one in March 11, and I rented a big house right in front of the Atlantic Ocean, so I still have spots available. I'm doing 2 retreats back to back. The first one has, close to 30, and the second one still has spots available because again, it's a bigger home. So yeah, go sign up. And then I just announced that we're going to the Grand Canyon, Sedona, in Lionsgate. Mm-mm. So, oh, I'm electrified just from that, which yeah, so that's really exciting. But overall, like even understanding like us, like who we offer like services for people, you know, for I work with so many readings. I think I've had 900,000 readings alone. So when you look at that statistics, there's going to be some people who are going to be a little bit unhappy sometimes, but it's not off the reflection that you as a reader, because a lot of people who are trying to be a healer, they hold themselves back, right? Because they're like, okay, what if I don't do the reading right? What if I say something wrong or so on? But remember, when you're doing a reading or you're offering some kind of service to someone, if you're in your heart and you are setting very clear intentions that you're only operating within the person's organic timeline, and also making it very clear to the person that's in front of you that you, for example, I share people's like Akashic reading, their organic timelines, what they are, what's basically in their organic timelines. So you, for example, can't hold the reader accountable to create those timelines for you. That's where people go wrong. They're like, oh, you told me that and so I was going to meet my possibly twin flame and I was going to do this and that. That hasn't come to be. See, but that's where you gave your power away. Because I could tell you some of the organic blueprints that's within your Akashic, but it's not, I'm not creating this for you. I'm just a practitioner sharing with you, just like Laura would in your astrology chart, right? But it's up to you. So another thing that we really need to work on is that we can't put blame on others or project our own kind of issues to others. We need to take our power back, and this is the biggest thing to basically becoming more sovereign and creating those organic timelines that we wrote before we were born, that were written in the stars.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. And that's, part of how we, guide people into what already is, but the timing of it is really dependent on you and how much you can remove yourself from the things that delay it or hijack it. But, those delays are a part of the greater growth too, to face that challenge and to notice, is that really yours? Right. So just know that, it'll manifest in accordance with the willingness of your soul and what you allow your willpower to hold intent about through the power of your higher mind, instead of the indoctrinated, mind controlled one that is really falling away and shedding away from so many people, because it hits people in varying degrees, right? It's not going to be like complete and total mind control. I mean, a lot of people were raised in religions and they have moved on to more spiritual sovereignty, but they're still impacted by some of those programs and some of those false voices of authority that feel like your own inner critic or self-doubt or, afraid of punishment if you move in a certain direction. But that's not your inner voice. That's something that got conditioned into you, that, even if you've moved on from that system of authority, it can still impact you. And we have to constantly catch ourselves when we're triggered and see it as an opportunity to break free from what it might want us to drop down into, and liberate ourselves in those moments instead.
Yes. Beautiful.
Well, it's been amazing to be with you today.
Yes, it has.
Thanks everybody for joining us.
Yes, thank you. We love you, honor you, respect you. Thank you. We'll see you next time, next show. Thank you.